Hey, hi friends, this is Shchida and welcome to my channel called as Early Learners and Right Brainers. Now today's topic is going to be how can self-feeding be important in right brain education. Anything that is imagination, anything that is creativity, anything that is done by the child on its own with the capability and with the confidence of the parents that my child can do it becomes a right brain education tool or right brain education activity. So I consider self-feeding as a right brain education activity. Now how? I'll tell you. See, when the child is breastfeeding for 6 months, exclusively breastfeed, the brain is already capable of being very strong, and the brain is getting a lot of emotions and happiness and nourishment because of the breastfeed. So what happens after the 6 months? The child is going to get the solids, and most of the parents try to force feed, and then it creates a kind of a distraction for the child, and it also creates something like, why my parents are doing like this to me? That feeling comes in the child's heart. But still, as a parent, we try to give them some food in the lunch or in the dinner, and slowly we try to make them quite familiar with the solids. But I think this journey should go in a very peaceful manner. You should let the child initiate their eating by trusting them. You need to think that, okay, my child is a human being and he knows how to eat the food. Like for example, 1000 years before, when there were many kids born to a mother, the mother was not really having so much of time, I would say, to go and cook the food and present it to their baby. The baby was obviously 6 months old. The baby was given the feed, but when the baby was able to walk, I'm sure he or she must have tried to grab something and eat. And the brain is always telling what is good for the child and what is not good for the child. Of course, there are accidents that happen. I'm not saying that this won't happen, but what I'm trying to convey is human brain is such that they know that, okay, this food belongs to me. Sometimes some foods, if you are introducing to your child is going to puke or vomit, because that is the response that the body gives, that I am allergic to this can harm my body, so I do not want this, I'll vomit it out. So this gives a signal to the parent, but the parent is not understanding. He feels that the baby is doing it purposely, and they feed the child again and again with the same item, and the baby gets irritated. It is said that you should always introduce one item 18 times. So every time you need to introduce your child, agreed, but at the same time you need to understand that you need to respect your child. The child also knows what is good for them and what is not good for them. It might be a surprise for you to hear all these things, but this is the reality. 6 months, the child, when he gets introduced to the solids, he is going to take time to get familiar. Like in my case, my child was not liking food till he was 11 months old. Like when I was pregnant, I used to love everything. So I was anticipating that my child is going to like everything. So I had this huge expectations on the Namkaran, on the Annaprashan, that now my child is going to eat everything. And to my surprise, he was crying on every nourishment that I was giving him. Every feed he was crying. And then I felt that maybe, like whatever I have read, that human brains know that what is good for them, what is not good for them, and they take time to get familiar with it, and they themselves know how to plug the food and eat. Maybe I have to hold on and I have to be patient. Of course, at my home also they were saying that you're giving so less food to your child, or is it right, is it wrong, or why is he crying? Even if he's crying, let it be, just just feed him. And I was like, I am not going to do that. And I used to feed my child, I used to breastfeed him. Even if he's not able to eat the food, I used to try, like 10 spoons I used to try. But then I used to tell myself that no, one day he will tell me like he wants to eat and he'll be prepared. So it took 5 months for him to come to that stage. So when he became 11 months old, he saw a chapati and he just came to us and he just started asking, and we just offered him, and he literally took it in his hand. He like toned it and he ate it. And now we didn't teach him that here. Obviously he copied us, but what I want to say is that I just felt that whatever I had read, like the human beings 10,000 years ago never had their mothers feeding them or force feeding them, and nowadays the mothers have to run behind the kid. I don't want to do that for my child, because I feel that he's capable of knowing what is important for him when it comes to eating, what is important for his stomach, what is important for his brain. He is capable of anticipating, understanding. Of course, I have to help him, but I should not force him. That is the thing. So the story begins like he asked me for a chapati and I gave him, and then slowly, all the items that I used to love in my pregnancy period, he was eating them with so much of zeal. Like today also I feed him. It's not like that, but he'll also have a spoon in his hand and he'll also self-feed him. So sometimes the spoon will go here and there. Of course I guide him. Of course I help him. But some finger foods he wants to eat it on like by himself, and I encourage it. My husband is a doctor, so he always warns me that he should not choke because of you, and I'm like, I am there, I'm going to see, you also be there, you also see. So everyone is conditioned that we have to force feed our child, but right brain education says that we have to treat these babies as genius. They know what to eat, they know how to eat. We have to provide a right environment, a right stimulus for them. So I have thought of what could be the most important things that are important for self-feeding, which I have not jotted down in the description. Please see the links, click on them and buy those stuff if you want. So the first and foremost thing that you must have, or you should think when you start your self-feeding journey, it is a high chair. A dedicated place for a child where he knows that okay, now this is my meal time is going to help you. Always the child is going to sit on the high chair. No, this doesn't happen. This is a wrong reality or a wrong expectation. But sometimes it happens that the child will never like to sit on the high chair, but you have to make him understand that it's a high chair, you need to sit, it is for us, like we all sit on the chair and you will also sit on the chair. And so slowly gradually he also likes the high chair. I'm not saying that he won't like it, but you need to be a little flexible. So sometimes the child is going to love to sit on the floor because that is where the human beings are. Like human beings are meant to sit on the floor. They are not meant to sit on the chair. So he or she will obviously like that thing. But why we are introducing a high chair is to give them a feel that this is an independent space. So when you are seated in this place, you have to have your own food by your own hands. You are given an opportunity to do that. When you are sitting down, you can obviously explore many things, and those things could be a distraction. So what you can do, you can create a corner where you keep only the food and the child is not distracted by the toys. So you can, if you don't want to buy a high chair, you can create a corner for your child where he or she is not going to get distracted. So when it comes to self-feeding, the child has to be not distracted by any nursery rhymes, by any chatting from the mother. The food and the relation between the baby should be very sacred or very beautiful. Like the child should actually see that he is going to eat something, so he needs to focus on the food. So when he smells the aroma of the food, the mind is going to send him all the hormones and all those chemicals, and then they are going to instruct him that pick the food up and put it in your mouth. But if you are just going to play some nursery rhymes and you're just going to say, see, this has come, now let's eat, see, that has come, now let's eat, then your child is always going to get distracted. And I think we as a generation, we never can eat without watching a TV, without watching something on the phone, or without listening to music. This is our generation. But our generation has our pros and cons, and for the upcoming generation, when we say that meditation is important, we have to be mindful and we have to sit, we have to eat without watching anything, are we able to do it? No, we are not able to do it. But why are we expecting our kids to do it? Because we know that we did this mistake and we want them to be at least at a decision making stuff. Like, okay, if I eat with watching a TV or watching a nursery rhyme, I'm never going to understand what am I eating. But if I'm eating peacefully, it's going to be a very unique experience for me. So for me, I try my level best to not to speak to my child when I'm feeding him or when he's self-feeding. So we have a very, I am always there for him. If he is feeling uncomfortable while eating the food, I'll always feel to play some music or sing something for him. But my majority encouragement to him is to be quiet. Like he will eat everything quietly, and I'll also tell him to eat everything quietly. So the quietness in the day is important, and I prefer it to be while feeding, because when the child is self-feeding, he will understand to self-feed only when there are no distraction. If there is a nursery rhyme going on, if there are songs going on, if the mother is keeping chattering and doing all those monkey stuff and dance in front of him so that he or she eats, that means the child is not able to relate in the brain that this stuff should go into his mouth because it is important to him. And then this habit just keeps on with the child forever, and it can never get unwinded. So it is best that you have a space where your child can eat without any distraction. Another topic is like you can introduce good amount of sippy cups to the child so that the child is becoming independent. You can of course support them, but you should always encourage that you can do it, you are able to do it. Wow, this is how we drink. So whenever the child is showing little bit of interest, encourage them that they can do it. And the third thing is you can always create a good amount of stuff to eat. Like for example, you can give them broccoli, like boiled broccoli or boiled carrots or boiled flour in their hand so they can hold it and they can eat. You can give a banana. So there is a baby lead winning groups, or there is something called as baby lead winning YouTube videos are also available. So there they tell us that the size of the food should be only this long so the child can hold it properly. You need to have patience when you are doing all this stuff. You can always feed the child, and you should feed the child. I'm not saying that you should not. But what I'm trying to say is that the relationship that the child will have with the food is only when he attempts to eat the food. Otherwise, in Indian families, we know that our child doesn't eat only. He has to be done, he has to be taken to the gallery. Only he will eat. All these dramas we are always doing. And the grannies will say that, oh, I have spent 2 hours feeding him. Absolutely not needed. The brain only opens up for 20 to 30 minutes to eat the food. So the granny says that, oh, my child had to spend 2 hours and he doesn't eat only, and he ate this much only. because if someone feeds you, how much will you eat? You will only eat less. But if you self-feed yourself, like if you are given a choice to eat by your hands, you're going to definitely eat as much as you want. So the child is going to decide how much they want. It's not you who has to decide for them. That doesn't mean that you are a submissive parent. Practically, you need to think that whether your feeding pattern is aggressive or it is submissive or it is child-friendly and balanced. So another point is creating good amount of recipes for your child. Like create a lot of varieties. Give them the homemade cooked foods. Never give salt and sugar to your child till he's 1 year old or she's 1 year old. After that, you can, in small amounts, you can give them the salt and the sugar. Like why you shouldn't give? Because the breast milk already has sugar and sweet, and that is already enough for the liver and kidneys, and so we do not need more and more salt and sugar. So all these are very basic stuff that we always try to overlook, and we just feel that, oh my god, my child is not eating. Just relax. The child knows when to eat. So if the child is not eating, don't feel that they are hungry. It's just that you have to understand that they also are exploring this concept called as solids. So the more variety you give them, the more appreciation they will have for your efforts, and things will be very much easier for both of you. Now this self-feeding also comes as a part of right brain education, and many moms across the world are trying this. Just one thing I would like to say, many moms try to self-feed from the 6 months itself. As per the doctors, this portion is not that developed, so it is not good that you let your child self-feed at the 6 month itself. After a year, the child is quite able to do it. So just be little wise and be thoughtful. You need to be little wise that is it even convenient that you should be giving a solid food like a finger food to your child when he's just 6 months old. And those are the times when the choking could happen because the child's windpipe is already very small. So just introduce on a very small scale. Just have basic expectations. Don't expect very high, and do not compare your child to the children shown on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube. Every child is different. Every mom has their own story and struggles and everything. It's just that we have a feeling that, oh god, she's taking out time to create a YouTube or an Instagram, that means her child must be very good. It's not like that. Every mother has a challenge, and some of the moms find it easier to express them, but that doesn't make you a less mom or us a better mom. So it's always that we all are together and we all have our experiences that we should share with each other, make our lives easier and make our kids' life easier. So just have basic expectations, and all the best for your journey. And I'll keep sending you guys some new videos with my concepts, and if you like it, do share it, but do not use my information for earning money, because till date I have not earned a single money with the knowledge and information I am sharing with you guys. It's my personal choice, but definitely I will not like it if you are using my name or my stuff for promoting your stuff. I'm not that saint. Anyways, so thanks once again, and do subscribe to my channel, and bye.